I'm going to turn things over to Giovanni Contratto.
Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to our March social. I was hoping for more people, but we're going to enjoy each other's company anyway, especially the company from out of state, because the rest of us, we see each other quite often. Yes, anyway. We're going to be doing a little bit of a celebration of events this month of St. Patrick's Day and of St. Joseph's Day. So I would like to turn the program over at this moment to Patrizio, who has agreed to give us a little dissertation about the history of
St. Patrick, like me, was not Irish. He was born in Kilpatrick, Scotland, to a Roman Britain at that time. He was born in 386 AD, they think. He was born into a very wealthy family. His father was Calpurnius, was a deacon from the Roman family of high social standing. His mother was Conchessa, was a close relative and great patron saint Martin of Tours. Patrick's grandfather was, they say Pontius here, but I've seen other spellings would be Potus. So I don't know which one it was, but his grandfather was also a member of the clergy and had a great influence on Patrick in his early days, because Patrick was a mischievous kid, got into a lot of trouble. He was born Maewyn Succat. His last name is spelled S-U-C-C-A-T or O-T. That's, nobody knows for certain. At 16 years of age, he was pirated to Ireland by some Irish pirates and was put into as a slave to a wealthy landowner, and he was supposedly a sheep herder. Well, that's strange because in Ireland they didn't have any sheep. He was actually a goat herder, as it turns out. And he started to use his Christian upbringing and pray to God that he could find a way to get out of the slavery and get back to his home in Ireland. Well, by the time he was 22, his prayers were answered. He had a vision or a dream, and he walked 200 miles to the coast, and there was a ship there that he got passage on, or as they say, he got passage on. I don't know if he paid for it or how he did it, but it landed in France by mistake. And so the crew and Patrick, or Maewyn was his name at that time, were lost for a good period of time, and eventually he found his way back to his family in Britain, Roman Britain, as it was called. After being home for a visit, he decided, because he had prayed so much to be released, that he wanted to become a priest. The influence of his grandfather and his father worked well for him, and he went to France. It doesn't say specifically France, but he did go to a monastery on the mainland. We would think it was France, and he studied there to become a deacon, and ultimately when he finished, he was a deacon of the church and stayed on until he became a bishop. It took him 30 years in his theological education, at which time, I'm trying to remember the Pope. I'm doing a lot of this because I read it all so often. But the existing Pope at that time donned him as Patrick and asked him to go to Ireland to Christianize Ireland. He didn't drive any snakes out of Ireland because there were none of those there either. And he did not use the four-leaf clover or the, what's, no, the good luck charm, whatever it was called, I forget.
The shamrock.
The shamrock, thank you, sir. He actually didn't use the shamrock as a way to describe the trilogy to the Irish people. That's one of many, many myths that surround St. Patrick. But he continued until he was 70 or thereabouts. He died in Ireland in 461 in Seoul, S-A-U-L, Ireland. And today in Seoul is a large cathedral in his honor. So he was never canonized a saint. The people of Ireland donned him St. Patrick. So that's how he became the patron saint of Ireland. Okay, that's my little presentation. Now, I have just one other thing to add before I convey upon you 3 Irish blessings or sayings. The most Irish community in the United States, could any of you guess? Is Boston.
Boston.
You got it, Boston. Almost every community has a good semblance of Irish folks. I mean, from 10% to 30 to 40%. And I have all the lists of the various communities here, but too many to take up that much time. So my final thoughts were, may the winds of fortune sail you. May you sail a gentle sea. May it always be the other guy who says the drink's on me. I love that. That is truly Irish. Then, one we've all heard and we all appreciate so much. I went through 130 of these to come to these 3. So, may the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, the rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. And that I truly, sincerely mean for each and every one of you. My final thought was, or is, I'm not speaking in the past tense, we're here now. May love and laughter light your days and warm your hearth and home. God's blessings from the Irish folks to you. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Patrick.
Grazie mille, Patrizio. I just have one question. Was there a chance then that St. Patrick had some Italian blood in him?
Well, it was Rome. It was Rome. Rome was in Britain at the time, and I thought the same thing when I saw that Conchessa. Conchessa was his mother's name. I somewhat wondered about that too. And it's hard. There is so much mystery surrounding St. Patrick. It's hard to find any conclusive answers about anything. But you know what? We could take liberties and say there was.
That's from his mother's side.
On his mom's side.
All right.
On the good side.
There you go.
Well, and he brought Christianity to Ireland, so there's his fame. Yeah, that's his fame.
Right.
Well,
Well,
I never knew because some of the facts I never knew.
and other than Dick Daley, does any other of you have a little bit of Irish blood in you? Oh, wonderful. Oh, that's very nice. I'm only half Italian. My mother was French Canadian. But my wife, who just celebrated her 89th birthday.
Oh, my goodness.
And is in the nursing home here in Sturgeon Bay. I just saw her the other day. She's doing quite well. Is 100% Irish.
Oh,
My kids had all the Irish lullabies when they were it was just so good to hear. So anyway, in honor of anyone who's got Irish blood or who would like to have it, here we go. When Irish
eyes are smiling,
just like a morning spring, with a little of Irish laughter, you can hear the angels sing. When Irish hearts are happy, all the world is bright and gay. And when Irish eyes are smiling, sure should steal your heart away. Yes.
very nice.
I'm going to sing it the way it should be sang. Quando gli occhi irlandesi sorridono, certo che come un mattino in primavera, con il ritmo delle risate irlandesi, puoi sentire gli angeli cantare. Quando i cuori irlandesi sono felici, tutto il mondo è luminoso e allegro. E quando gli occhi irlandesi sorridono, certo che ti ruberebbe via il cuore.
A little Italian in there.
Okay, I believe now we're going to have a little bit of something on St. Joseph's Day, or the St. Joseph's table, in my understanding. And this is going to be very educational to me. Being Italian, I never had heard of a St. Joseph celebration. And I am anxious to hear Lenora give us a little information about it.
In 2013, Chuck and I built this altar or St. Joseph table after being in Sicily in 2012 and seeing several of these in a town called Saleme and a town called Sambuca. Now, because of poverty and famine, due to a severe drought in the 14th century in Sicily, prayers were sent to St. Joseph to intercede for rain. During this time, people ate fava beans that was feed for cattle. It was the one crop that grew during the drought. When the rain came and the crops prospered, their prayers were answered. So in Thanksgiving, the people erected these altars or tables, and the feast of St. Joseph had already been established in the 10th century, the date being March 19th. All right, when the Sicilians and Southern Italians emigrated to America in the latter part of the 19th century, they, of course, brought with them their customs and traditions. And among them was this tradition. My paternal grandparents arrived in New Orleans, where even today there is a large Sicilian population. And this is one of the customs that they brought with them to Rockford, Illinois, where I was born and raised. I would visit these altars built by family members. Reasons for having the altars vary. It could be to fulfill a promise. It could be for healing the sick, for a happy life, or to give thanks for a favor that was granted. And one that I remember was in Thanksgiving for a son who safely returned after World War II. The tradition continues not only because it's a religious event, but it's a celebration of history, of culture, and of artistry. You could see that in the picture of that altar, the art that's involved. Now, there is symbolism. First of all, though, I'll start with wheat. Wheat is grown in Sicily. So items, of course, would be formed with bread into shapes with various symbolisms. In fact, back to the Romans that Patrick mentioned, the ancient Romans established their first colony in Sicily, in the western part of the island, and the reason being because of the abundance of wheat to feed the soldiers and the Roman citizens. Eventually, the Romans controlled the entire island of Sicily and smaller surrounding islands. Now, when Chuck and I were in Sicily in 2012, okay, Mary, we visited the town of Salemi. Mary will put up a picture. The population there is known for their bread creations called le vestiti, which are ornately designed breads. Mary, do you want to put that poster up? Can you get that? There, what I think is interesting about this, it says at the top, la cena, like somebody who knows Italian better than I do. Cena is not just supper, is it? It's called La Cena di San Giuseppe.
Dinners.
Dinners? Okay, thanks, Dick. And if you look under the word Saleme, it says storia, which is history, arte, which of course is art, and tradizione, which is traditions. Now, some of these, you could go back to the altar, Amy. Thank you. I mean, Mary. Thank you. So this le vestiti, the ornately designed breads, Chuck is going to point out some of these.
Which do you want?
No, get those, Chuck.
These?
Yeah, these right here.
Okay.
These Mary, can you get it so that people can see what we have? Okay, here's one. I don't know. Can you see it? Everybody? Yeah. Okay, that's all made out of bread. It's really cool. And then here's another one. This is fish. These we bought. And then, thanks, Chuck. And here's another one, just so you get an idea, you know, of what they are. The day that we were in Salemi, it was especially busy because of the busloads of tourists who were walking up and down the street looking at the bread sculptures displayed in store windows. And those three that I just showed you, those were in the stores. The stores, like there'd be a shoe store, various stores, like a downtown area where people could see these ornaments.
And being made.
And we saw them being made. Yeah, thanks, Chuck. I forgot that. We saw them being made. Now, regarding the symbolisms for the altar, okay, Chuck, my assistant, Joseph's beard, pull that up. Now, Chuck and I made this for our altar. Here's the beard for St. Joseph. And here is his staff, okay? And here is his hammer. And here is his ladder. Yep. And not that one yet. And here is sandals. Okay. Now we made those for our altar. Okay, there's also a thing called modica, which I didn't show you because it's no big deal. It's just breadcrumbs to represent the sawdust left from his carpentry projects. And then, of course, if you'll notice on the altar that Chuck and I made, and probably on the ones in Salome too, there were palm branches that represent the ones that the people used to welcome Jesus into Jerusalem. And then there's the crown of thorns. Chuck, want to hand me that? Okay. Here's the crown of thorns. It's with toothpicks that we made it. There you go. Now you can see it. Okay, the crown of thorns. And then the traditional St. Joseph's bread, pane de San Giuseppe, which would be this. This is from our altar that we made 8 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, that's sesame seeds. I think in some places that I read that the sesame seeds can also represent sawdust that would be from the projects that St. Joseph had. Now, another culinary art form is called spada. Okay, Chuck. Spada is a big mixture that's put between 2 layers of dough that has a glossy egg wash finish. I'm going to show you these because Chuck and I made these. That's big. And what this is 2 layers of dough. One you put on the bottom, and then you spread this fig mixture on. Then you put another layer of dough, and then you carve a design in it. So this is obviously a cross. And this is obviously a heart. And this is the last one, fish. Okay. All right, in addition to wheat products, the table is laden with an array of vegetables and fruits, typical of those consumed in Italy. Now, the altar itself is a 3-tiered construction representing, you referred to that with the shamrock, Patrick. It's the Trinity. 3 tiers, the Trinity. And then, of course, you've got cookies, biscotte, sesame cookies, which is gigellina, cannoli, zeppoli, cuccidati, which is fig cookies, frittatas with a variety of vegetables. I don't know how many we made, but this project took us like 6 weeks, to prepare for this whole thing. Then, of course, you've got cod, which is bacala with tomato olive sauce, and pasta con sardi, which is sardines. And of course, no meat is served because the feast occurs in Lent. Now, Mary, want to put up the Sambuca ones? We also visited Sambuca. Now, the reason we did that, thanks, Mary. Oh, wait a minute, that's Salome. There's Sambuca. The reason we visited Sambuca is because my paternal grandparents were born there. 3 people are chosen to represent the Holy Family, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. They are served first, and then after them, family and friends are invited to join in eating whatever's on the altar. Now, lilies that represent Joseph are placed on the altar. I don't actually see any. Oh, yeah, there they are. They're at the bottom. Thanks, Mary. Lilies that represent Joseph. About 130 people came to our home to view the altar. As they left, each was invited to take a fava bean for good luck and prosperity, because it symbolizes the fava beans eaten by people during the drought. This is cool. These are, when we were in Sambuca, this is a family that was in where the altar is. It's on the main street in Sambuca, and the window is all blocked all day until the evening. And then they open it, and then you see families going in and partaking of the food that is there. Mary, do you want to show the next picture in Sambuca? All right, this is the procession. Now, actually, they don't go in to see the altar until the procession is ended. They march around the town. That is the statue of St. Joseph. I didn't take a very good one because I think it's the back. The other neat thing is that the statue comes out of the church, and all these people are watching a presentation that's on the building of the church. So you can see various pictures of St. Joseph. Now we can go back. Is there another picture for Sambuca, Mary? Did I send another? I don't remember if they did or not. Or is that it? Okay. All right. That's it then. Now, any food that will be left is donated, I mean, in Sicily, but also Chuck and I donated our food to the St. John's Homeless Shelter. Okay, Mary, do you want to show ours again? Yeah, so that was ours. And John, I don't know, I don't think they celebrate St. Joseph altars in Northern Italy. I think it's just Southern Italy and Sicily. But the feast day is March 19th. So, Father's Day. And it's Father's Day in Italy. The whole country of Italy celebrates Father's Day on March 19th. So that's it. Fine, el fine.
Excellente.
Okay, good.
Anybody have any questions for Lenora? No.
Well, I would like to just say one thing. That cross with the figs in it,
yeah,
that looks so darn good. I wanted to take a bite right out of the screen.
Gorgeous.
8 years old.
It's 8 years old, so you wouldn't want to
Break your tooth.
Maybe someday I'll make you cucci daddy. I'll make you a big cookie.
I was gonna say it's sort of like the composition of a cuccidati with the fig and it's like a huge ginormous cuccidati.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, Lenora.
Yes.
Yeah. What is that? Is St. Joseph's of Sicily, or what is it? The St. Joseph of where? Because probably there's more than one St. Joseph.
Well, it's a good question, Jean. I'm not sure, but I know St. Joseph the Carpenter, is a big one. And he's also, I think, the patron saint of, I read this and I forgot, of various other things. But I don't know what they are, Jean.
Father of Jesus.
Okay.
Just the Father of Jesus. Okay, Marlene.
Yeah, I just want to say that, and I already told Lenora this. First of all, I think St. Joseph is referring to Jesus' father.
I
Yes.
think so too.
Oh, thank you for saying that. That's what Chuck thought too.
Yeah. So anyway, I happened to be at church yesterday morning at Nativity, and the priest said at the very beginning, who is not Catholic, not Catholic, not Italian.
Is the Pope Catholic?
That would be something, right? Not Italian. He's not Italian. I don't know what his nationality is. But he said, if there's anybody Italian here, I have something to share with you after the homily. And so he started talking about the St. Joseph table. And yes, it is, according to what he said, it started in Sicily because of the famine. Now, I got here late, so you might have already said that, Lenora.
I did.
Okay.
But that's worth repeating, Marlene, so thank you.
Okay. Well, anyway, he just said that there was this terrible famine and people were dying. Their crops were dying, and that they prayed to St. Joseph for rain, and it came on the 19th. And so that's tradition says that's why they celebrate. But I thought it was interesting because he talked about the fava bean, and he talked about the St. Joseph table with the 3 tiers representing the Trinity. And so anyway, I just wanted to add that little bit because and John and I of course are from
the file cabinet. There's that one about the history.
John and I, of course, are from the northern part of Italy.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think our families did not celebrate, because we didn't know anything about the famine in Sicily.
And I think you said that you had never heard of celebrating Father's Day, did you, on March 19th?
No.
That's it, Jim. Yeah. I want to show you something that we had for the people when they came. Chuck did this, and he put on here things that you should know about Sicily. I mean, Chuck really went into detail about this. Even historical things like Sicilians distrust their government, blah, blah, blah. Throughout their history, it's been distant and inefficient. Talking about who conquered Sicily. Just look at this. It's not real good. But it shows how the Greeks, the Romans, all kinds, Arabs, Normans, Spanish, Austrians, Spain, conquered Sicily. And then I guess that's all I wanted to show you. Oh, the other neat thing that we had displayed was Neapolitan language. Dick, you'd be interested in this. How you say the Our Father in Neapolitan, in Calabrian, in Southern Calabrian, in Sicilian, in Italian, and in Latin.
Wow.
So we had this displayed, and it was fun, but I don't know if we'd want to go through all that work again. It took so much time.
It was labor of love, Lenora.
That's what it was, exactly.
And
Sue.
between the two of you, you both did such a wonderful job. I'll never forget.
You were there, yeah. I have a picture of you.
Well, Pat and I were there, and he just couldn't understand. I just want to mention too, for all of you that are watching Stanley Tucci, tomorrow night he will be in Sicily, and I'm anxious to see if he's going to go through this history.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, yeah, because that's the last, I think, the last of his tour.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
Lenora?
my friend told me.
Eugene.
I have a question.
Wait, Eugene is trying to say something.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, the thing is, Lenora, it was interesting. My nephew, Marco Vincenzi, that lives up in a northern suburb of Milan, and he works for the German-based insurance company, Allianz. And about 3 or 4 years ago, him and his wife went down. There was a wedding down in Sicily, and they had traveled there, but they did not realize all the Greek monuments that are there. They did not realize how phenomenal. And obviously, here he was born and raised in northern Italy and educated at the Catholic University. Not knowing about that, he was just flabbergasted. And obviously, there's certain groups of people control the tourists down there, type of thing, as far as for it not to be so well publicized, type of thing.
Yeah.
But he was just amazed at the Greek monuments. He didn't really know that.
No,
Okay,
the Greek influence. That's exactly right. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to ask you, how did you preserve your the things that you made for the table?
I just put it in a box. I'll tell you what, there's a lot that I threw out too. I just happened to save these. And I wrapped that Pate di San Giuseppe in that plastic wrap, and that's kept pretty well. But I'll have to tell you a really funny story, because I did have more. And then I think it was about 2 years ago, I went in the basement and I saw little mouse droppings leading over to these boxes where I had stored all this. So I threw all those out and just kept these.
Yeah. Well, you could shellac them too.
No more mice, by the way. We got rid of the mice.
Oh, good. But you could shellac them and they were preserved too.
Sure.
I was going to Lenora.
Our Victoria with an egg wash.
Yeah, but you could also shellac them or use a regular shellac and they'll stay forever.
I think you're right.
Those altars that we saw in Italy and all that unique bread work, do they eat that, or that's just for show and they just give it out every year?
Well, I cannot tell you, but I do know that there is a dinner. Now, whether they eat what's actually on the table, I don't know, Vicki.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, yeah. Chuck just reminded me, at the procession, just at the beginning of the procession, the women would come out of the place where the altar was displayed, and they would have big pans of bread, offering it to all the people in the procession.
Okay.
We didn't go around the whole town, but they had music playing, and we could have walked all the way around the town, but we didn't.
Back at home on 3rd Avenue, they used to have a procession with St. Joseph.
Oh, really? Ah, cool.
So because my grandmother was from Sicily, and there was a lot of Sicilians there. So around St. Joseph, they used to have a procession.
Oh, I didn't know that, Vicki.
Is that like Arthur Avenue too?
No, you mean talking to me? No.
Arthur Avenue?
No, it was 3rd Avenue in Brooklyn. Carroll Street.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because my friend in New York always says they go down to Arthur Avenue for all of the different bakeries and, delicatessens for Italian.
I think that's in the Bronx.
Oh, okay.
The other thing too, is that, as I told you, my grandparents, my paternal grandparents, came to this country through New Orleans, and there's still a lot of Sicilians, which I mentioned, and they have a big celebration down there with, not this year, but with all the altars. And one of the things I would love to do is go to New Orleans at this time and see the altars down there. What surprised me was I was reading about it. Kansas City has a large Sicilian population too, and they also have altars. Mm-hmm. And then there's a museum in Los Angeles, and then they also have a celebration. Oh. Yeah, so it's all interesting.
Lenore, I don't know if they have a St. Joseph celebration for sure in New Orleans, but New Orleans, in case you don't know, has a wonderful Italian-American or Italian immigrant museum.
Oh, I'd like to go there too. Thank you, Teofilo. No, I did not know that.
Yeah, don't miss it if you get back there.
I will. Thanks.
Well, grazie mille. You know, a lot of people do not realize or do not know that the original name of Naples was Neapolis because it was founded by the Greeks.
Ah.
I did. Neapolis. Wow, that's neat.
Wow.
It is interesting, yeah.
Yeah, as you were saying about the amazing ruins, Greek ruins in Sicily, that goes for just south of Salerno too. There's a town called Paestum, which is 100% Greek ruins. They have an Acropolis there that they say is actually bigger and in better detail and condition than the one in Greece at Athens. I've been there. I got a number of pictures of it. It's very large area. It's probably on, I'm going to guess, at least 200 acres.
Oh,
what is the city, Richard?
Paestum. It's, you know, like a Latin name, P-A-S-T-U-E-M.
P-A-S-T-U-E-M. I'm going to mention one more thing. I said those two towns that we went to, Salemi and Sambuca. Salemi was the town of the man who started Progresso Soup. I gave a report on that. What was his name? Giuseppe Udo. That's his name. Giuseppe Udo. And he was from Salemi. And he came to this country as a vendor, a vegetable vendor, and then eventually founded the company, Progresso Soup Company.
Nick, were you going to do a little something with that?
Well, I was just going to try to share a couple of pictures going back to St. Patrick. I'm not confident. I'll go with the screen share and see what happens here. Well, okay, I'll start with this one. Okay, can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, well yes?
Yes.
Okay, well, you can read it. It's the plaque or marker of the grave of St. Patrick in the town of Downpatrick, which is a little north of Dublin and is across the line in Northern Ireland. Downpatrick is a very nice place that has, the reason I was there was to play golf. It was kind of a serendipitous thing, but anyway, it turned out that my Airbnb host was telling me, well, St. Patrick's grave is here in the town too. And that maybe does fly in the conflict with what Patrick told us about Sowell, the town of, I think it's pronounced Sowell, says is where he died. But as I understand it, they dug him up and they brought him over here. And he also was buried with St. Bridget, as you can see on the grave marker. So if you all got that one, I'll switch over to another one. And here is the actual rock or stone of St. Patrick. You can see the ancient, if you look right in here, I don't know if you see my cursor, P-A-T, yeah, paten that was, I guess, the Latin way of saying it. And then here's the cross. It was a very interesting day because I didn't realize, I suppose I should have figured out the town's called Downpatrick. And again, I was, you know, focused on the golf. And in fact, with the golf, let me see if I can pull it up. Now we're going to run into trouble, I think. Are you looking?
Oh, yeah.
Let's see if this is going to come up. There, did that come up?
No, I think you have to open it and then share it rather than share your screen and then click it. So stop sharing and then try to share the picture.
Yeah, okay, let me just give it one more try. Do you have one now?
No, you need to stop sharing what you were sharing first.
Okay.
And now try to share the open picture.
Yeah, this is not going to work. Sorry. I'll go with what I can. Do you see this?
Yeah. Yes.
This is a young kid I follow on Facebook. He has one of these daily blogs, and he calls it Il mio viaggio di Napoli. And his name is Giuseppe Russo. And of course, he just posted this. It's his Onimastico, his patron saint day. Oh. And of course, we all know that the zeppole is sort of like the iconic treat or pastry of San Giuseppe in a general sense. As Lenora shared, there are a number of these cuccidati and other things, but it seems to be more widespread. And even here in this country, the zeppole, the pastry zeppole, is accepted. I'm going to see if this will play. Can you see it playing?
Yeah.
But we can't hear it.
It's muted.
Okay.
Oh yeah, raise up the volume. Hit the volume switch.
Okay, well,
you can.
You have to share with that.
How about right here?
Maximize for sharing. You have to share it. It's that box.
It's okay. You get the general idea. He's just thanking everybody because he does this blog, and he's actually making a little living at it. He's one of these influencers on Facebook that they have a daily blog and people follow him, and then there's advertising. So he gets a little bit of money. You know, he's just a kid there's very bad unemployment there, and he's got himself a little side hustle where he's making a little money doing that. Gee, I wish I could just get this one thing up. Okay, do you have this?
Yes.
Landscape picture?
Beautiful.
Okay, jumping back to Ireland. This is along a part of the seacoast you've all heard of the Ring of Kerry. It's one of the most scenic circular roads that you can take, a scenic road around the peninsula of Kerry in the county Kerry. And this particular little hamlet is where Marconi was actually born.
Oh.
And this is where the transatlantic cable left the peninsula, or left the continent of Europe and was laid. So if you look down in the bay there, you see like a lighthouse. And basically that's where the cable came back ashore.
Oh, wow.
So it's a little interesting. I had a number of other pictures that I'm really disappointed I'm not getting to bring up. They're contained in this, but somehow they just, when I click on it, all you see is the thumbnail. Can you see my?
Yep. I can see your cursor.
Oh wait, maybe this will help. How's this? Do you see a church?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, this is going back to Dublin again. this is the Cathedral of St. Patrick in Dublin. And it's ecumenical, like our national cathedral in Washington, where it's not strictly Catholic. The history also has a bit of Anglican Christianity, and they kind of share this cathedral. The actual seat of the cathedral, the actual diocese seat in Dublin is Christ Church, which is where they do all the investitures and so forth. This is a place called Hornhead. It's on the north coast near Dunfangy in Ireland. And you can see this is the way the coast is on 90% of the coastline of Ireland. It's windy. Obviously, there's no trees. They can't survive with the kind of wind that's all across the island, really.
Yeah.
This day I was there, they had gusts of 100 kilometers an hour. And I did a lot of hikes like this. Another one I went to was Sybil's Head, which is where Ryan's daughter was filmed. That's more on the Dingle Peninsula. But this just gives you an idea of the rugged beauty that Ireland is. And as I say, about 90%. Are you seeing a music now?
Yeah.
Okay, take a look at the guy playing the uilleann pipes.
Oh.
He, to me, his face is absolutely biblical. He, I think that Da Vinci would have liked to painted his face in one of the frescoes. And wow. It's just typical of Irish pub music. They call it trad music for traditional music. And Dingle Town is quite known. They have a whole row of pubs that every one of them have a group playing, especially Friday, Saturday nights. So I just happened to wander in a few of them, you know.
Just happened to.
Just happened to. And
well, those pictures are awesome.
Could I add one more thing? When Dick mentioned Marconi,
yes,
Chuck reminded me that Marconi is buried in Santa Croce in Florence.
Oh, okay.
Which I had forgotten, but he has a better memory than I do.
Yeah, we went there.
Is that the famous cemetery in Paris where like Edgar Allan Poe and Van Morrison are buried? I was
not in Paris.
Santa Croce is just a huge cathedral in Florence, and they're
in Florence. I thought you said Paris.
Oh no, I'm sorry, Florence, Firenze.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, she said Florence.
Well, anyway, that's where the transatlantic cable came ashore. And I just mentioned that in 2015 and 2016, two of the best trips of my life. I spent 3 weeks each year in Ireland. I traveled from Dublin around the south through to Galway and back to Dublin in 21 days, and probably played 15 golf courses. And the days I wasn't playing, I was seeing a lot of museums and churches and so forth. And then I repeated the trip with an American group. We had a mini Ryder Cup where we played a team from around Great Britain and Ireland, and a bunch of us Americans went over, and so we had a team competition. In that 21 days, I played 18 rounds of golf on 16 different courses.
Oh my word!
And still had enough time to hit all of the major, parks, museums, churches, universities, everywhere from Cork to Trinity University or College in Dublin. I saw a lot of the tributes to the great Irish poets. I went to Yeats, William Butler Yeats' grave, which is just north of Sligo on the West Shore, and to Oscar Wilde. They have a park corner with his statue there, and a bunch of engraved, very witty sayings. If you ever like Irish literature. Oscar Wilde is one of the most witty, funny authors, and especially his quotes. Very flamboyant person. So the Irish culture gave us a lot of great literature. And I found it kind of interesting because each trip I went, then I departed Ireland for 3 more weeks each time in Italy. So I covered my half Irish and half Italian heritage by 3 weeks in golfing my brains out and seeing all of the major sites in Ireland, and then dropped into Italy for 3 weeks at a time.
Wow.
Wonderful.
What a life.
It was a nice transition. And I guess the thing that struck me is those wild and amazing, crazy Irish coastal cliffs and so forth. They're basically like Italy and Amalfi or Cinque Terre. It's the same terrain, but in Italy, they built it up, where in Ireland, they didn't even bother because of the wind and the harshness. But in a way, you know, you can see how dramatic those cliffs are dropping right into the ocean, are much the same terrain and geology, but Will was not there to build in Ireland like they did in Italy. Yes, Marlene?
I just wanted to know that foliage that was growing, is that heather on the cliffs?
No, I'm not a botanist. I couldn't tell you. Nothing grows there in terms of a tree because the wind is just too wild. Day in and day out, trees can't take hold, plus the rocky terrain. But, you know, as far as whether it's heather or fern or lichens or, you know, I can't tell you.
Okay.
Dick, is the Blarney Stone on one of those cliffs or similar?
No, the Blarney Stone is inland near Killarney, but every person that I know, and I know a number of people that live in Ireland, they say, stay away from there. It's a tourist trap, and you don't put your lips on that filthy stone, they say.
Especially now.
Yeah, very true.
I've been there and done that.
Oh, yeah.
Me too.
Did you go on your back and then they helped you go down and kiss the Blarney Stone?
Yeah, that's the only way to do it.
That's what I've heard the people do. Okay.
My wife is from Carbondale, Pennsylvania, and she told me that back when she was young, they had a railroad track split the city into on one side of the tracks were the Italians and the other side of the tracks were the Irish.
Oh.
At night, you dare not cross over to the other side. Alive. And her mother was upset when she found out she was going to marry an Italian.
Where there's a will, there's a way. Cross over.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dick. That was very interesting.
Yes, it was.
Yes, very interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Grazie.
We're open for any conversation right now. Thank you all for showing up.